You've probably seen the videos where photographers are going through the things that they regret buying, the things that they go, why did I spend my money on this? I wish I could take it back. I wish I didn't spend that money. Now, there's a bunch of those that I have as well, but these in particular are the things that I don't regret buying. The things that some of them I was hesitant about, but wow, am I actually glad I spent the money. I'm actually glad I bought these things because they actually improved my life. I'm not in the business of wasting time, so let's get right into it. The first thing is something I use not only as a photographer, but also a camera assistant on film and TV sets, and that's this little small rig camera tool. You've seen different companies start coming out with these. I think Small Rig was the first one to really come out with a proper multi-camera tool, and this doesn't do everything. Sometimes on set I still need a little pouch with some tools in it, but most of the time, I would say 8 or 9 times out of 10, this can do the job without having a proper screwdriver, without having any of that with me. It has a flat head for those pesky little tripod plates, so you're not going around asking anyone if they have a coin or anything like that. It has some Phillips, it has 3 different common sized Allen keys, and it also even has a bunch of little holes for 1/4 20 screws and things like that, so you can keep them without getting lost. And it folds up and fits super nicely in a pocket. It's super low profile. This is the older generation, I believe, and there is a newer generation, but I like this one because if you're tightening something, say you're using like an Allen key, you get it going, you're like, okay, it's tightening, but then, oh, I need some more tension. Twist, and then you go like this. Oh, I can't get it the rest of the way. Pull it around, twist, pull it around. So you can keep going pretty efficiently. I do like it for that. Also, links to everything will be in the description down below. Most of them are probably affiliate links. Some of them might not be, but you'll know. Moving along, this solved an issue that I had for the longest time, which was I had a bunch of cables, batteries, SD cards all throughout my camera bags, and anytime I would go from one camera bag, say my travel one, to my bigger production camera bag, I would have to move all of these little bits over, and it would drive me crazy because almost every time I would forget something. And I thought, can't I just have one thing that I can put everything in, that I can just take out of one bag, put in the other, and if I have it, I know I have everything. And that's where this comes in. This is the black charcoal, whatever version of the Peak Design Tech Pouch. You can see it expands pretty nicely in there. It's got an exterior pocket too, and it has little loops so you can put the little anchors for a Peak Design strap or something on there. It's a perfect size in my opinion. It's not too big, it's not too small. It carries everything that I need it to, and honestly, I've used this thing for probably 2 years now, and I have pretty much no complaints. If you want to see a proper full review of this guy after you watch this, that'll be linked up here, because this, honestly, I love it. It goes with me just about everywhere. It follows my camera bag everywhere, and it has saved me so many times because I just know where everything is. Following the Peak Design train is the Peak Design slide strap. Peak Design isn't sponsoring this. I do use quite a few of their products, but that's just because I genuinely like them. Now, if Peak Design ever sees this and says, hey, we'd like to sponsor you, sure, I'll take that, absolutely. But this, I like it because I can just slap this on, quickly have a strap on my camera and unstrap it when I don't want the strap there, especially if I'm going between a lot of photo and video. I can throw the camera on a gimbal, pop the strap off. It's not in the way, but whenever I want a strap on there, if I'm running and gunning, or if I can't hold my camera because I'm doing something precarious, as I put myself in a lot of weird situations, then I can strap this on as well. And it's the quickest strap in the world, in my opinion, to throw on the camera, and the little anchors can go on a bunch of things, which I just like. It just makes sense for me. It's not a huge strap, but it is strong. I've never had to worry about it, and great. It's 10 out of 10. Oh, I also like that you can quickly adjust the length of this on the fly just by clicking this guy. Sometimes I'll fidget with it and just be pulling it up and down when I'm thinking. but that's my ADHD talking. So moving down the list is an essential for when you're shooting out in broad daylight, especially if you're doing video, but also if you want that blurry background for photos as well, and you're using like flash or anything, is a ND filter. This particular one is a variable ND, so it has two polarizing filters in there that you twist and it gets darker, so you can't see anything, and then you can see a bit. Regularly you put this on, it knocks it down by about 2 stops, and then you can knock it down way more. This particular one, I like it because it doesn't give you the weird X's that some do when the polarizing patterns come off. This particular one is the Cameron variable ND. I've had it for years. I've had it since before the Peter McKinnon ND came out. I haven't even tried that one. I'd be open to it. But honestly, I have no need because this guy has served my needs, quite honestly. And then I just get step down rings and step up rings for any other lens that I might have. On the note of filters, this one pretty much just lives on this particular lens of mine, and that is the Moment Cinebloom 10% filter. I got this at like an 82mm length, and then I just step it down to any lens that I have. It just adds a nice blooming to the highlights, gives it a bit more of a filmic cinematic feel that I really like capturing in my photos, and it just makes it so it's right out of the camera. I start getting that look that I naturally want anyways. I did a full review of this, so that will be linked up here as well if you want to check that out. So far, all of these will work for any photographer, but now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of some things that really make my life easy. And the first of those is my giant strobe flash units that I use for the majority of my professional work. These guys got a portable battery here, so this is what you would call a monolight because it's all stored here. You don't have a power pack or anything attached to it. All of it is stored here. You get like 500 flashes out of this thing. This particular one is a 600 watt second light, which means you can pretty much overpower the sun with this should you have to. There are also brighter lights available that some people will use in studio, or if it's really, really bright and you're going for a particular look, or you're putting multiple lights off of one setup. But this is the Flasho Explorer 600, also known as the Godox AD600. They also make the Pro version of this, which is updated. It's a little more expensive. They usually have TTL through the lens metering, so it basically is like an automatic function for your light. I just go full manual everything because I like controlling everything. I'm a bit of a control freak when it comes to my lighting, so these are all manual, no TTL here, not necessary. I love these. They go with me on every professional shoot that I do, even if they're a little cumbersome to carry around. I am looking at getting some smaller ones as well, just for more run and gun style setups, but these things are fantastic. They are a Bowens mount, so they act with any Bowens mount modifier that you might have, which brings me to the next one. And actually it's on this light right here lighting me right now, and that is the Aperture Lan Soft Box. It gives, as you can see, a very nice soft glow of a light source. It doesn't get it as concentrated as something like an Octabox does, and you don't have that weird octagonal, Octabox, octagonal. I know how to count. Octagonal highlight in the eye. You don't get a weird square if you're using like a traditional softbox. This gives a nice round highlight in your eye. And also sometimes I'll do a lot of group shoots where there's multiple subjects, multiple models, and this can really help light all of them at once, either if you have it on a stand like I do now, lighting in one direction, or if you have it over top on a boom and it lights in a 360 direction, especially if you have people kind of sat in a bit of a circle. It does work really well for that. I do have another full review to that guy up here that you can check out later. I'm just gonna like make a playlist of a bunch of the reviews for everything that's included in this video. And again, links are in the description. This next one is actually surprising, and it is not a reflector. This particular one is newer. However you say that company name, it is a pop-up changing tent. There's a bunch of brands that make these. I usually find them on Amazon. And it's a portable change tent, so you don't have your models changing in a bathroom, changing in like a weird corner, and nobody's holding up towels or anything. They have a proper change room that takes just a few seconds to set up. Sometimes I'll throw some sandbags on there so it doesn't blow away if I'm in a windy area, like I did a shoot down at the beach. Threw some sandbags on there and that way it wouldn't fly away. But it makes every model that I've worked with, or every subject that had to do a look change midday, made them so much more comfortable, because they're not worrying about, oh, how am I going to change? Is this going to be weird? They're like, oh, there's a change room right here. That's great. You're great. I would love to shoot with you again, because none of this is weird. So it makes everyone more comfortable and just makes it so nothing's weird at all, which I like to provide that to anyone I work with. Anytime I'm shooting with a client, I like for them to see the images as they're coming in, and that's where this next product comes in. Because I wasn't sure about buying this beforehand, and there were a couple quirks that I found out that you can check out in the review I did of it. But this is the Cam Ranger 2. This is the case for it, and then this is the actual device, plus, if I can get it open, plus some cables. So it's a wireless tethering device to plug your camera into that will transfer those files to an iPad, to an iPhone, to an Android device, so you can see the photos as they're coming in, because I'll be running and gunning a lot, and I'll be running around with my subject, and I don't always tether to a laptop because I'm running around like a lunatic. So I will have this with the little carabiner clipped onto my belt, the cable coming out to the camera, and then I'll have the iPad off where the client can see the images coming in. They're not peering over my shoulder or anything like that. If you're interested in this, if you're interested in wireless tethering, I do have a discount code. Just enter FIN20 at checkout for specifically the Cam Ranger 2, and you'll get $20 off. It is an affiliate link. I'm not sponsored, but I do get a little kickback from that as well, just so you know. This one I use for a lot of my professional work anytime I'm shooting on film, but I also use it for just really high quality photos of life, for personal work, for test shoots I'm doing, for creative shoots, and that is the Mamiya 645 Pro TL. This guy can work with all my flashes. You just pop the trigger on there and you can use the lights just the same. I have the 55mm lens on here, which is about a 35 equivalent. This is a medium format 120 film camera. You get a couple more shots out of this than the 647 format, and I just love the shots that this produces. It's a great camera to use. It's a conversation starter, and the quality, it can't really be beat unless you're using like 6.7 format in that case. But I love it. It's small enough and portable enough for on location shooting. It's a fantastic piece of gear that I love shooting with. I don't always shoot my client projects on it because sometimes they just need the digital workflow, but whenever I can, I'm busting out this guy for sure. I love working with it. This one is a bit of a bonus because we just went through the top 10. This is not only something I use for my professional work, my personal work, but I even use in my everyday life, and that is grip equipment. A grip is somebody who does rigging and puts things in front of lights on a film set. Especially in Canada, the electrics deal with lighting and all that. Grip deals with what you put in front of the lights, with rigging, all that kind of stuff. This includes C-stands, which I use for all my lights, heavy duty, really good quality, solid stands. I use grip arms. That's what this little guy is here. It's also called a knuckle. I have a Cardellini clamp. I have friction arms. I have magic arms. I have boom arms, all sorts of grip equipment that you can use to put lights, to put fill, to put negative fill in different spots to make the photo that you're looking for, because these things are invaluable. Have you ever wanted a light somewhere that you don't know how to get it? Grip equipment. Have you ever wanted to secure something that you didn't know how to get it there? Grip equipment. Have you ever wanted to just make your life easier? Grip equipment. I don't have to worry whenever I'm using this. It's like adult Legos basically. You put these things in a way to serve a purpose, and they're great. Sometimes I'll even use them as clothing racks to like hang clothes off of and stuff like that. Just put a boom arm sideways and put some clothes on it. It works great. This is an absolute game changer, and it's something that I've taken from my experience of working on film sets and adapted it into my professional photography workflow, and it has absolutely upped my photographic workflow entirely. I also have a list of these for video and filmmaking, so if you want to see those, let me know down below. As always, all the links will be in the description down below if you want to check out anything that I mentioned throughout this video. Thank you if you made it to this point in the video. In honor of the last point, comment "get a grip" so we confuse everybody that didn't get to the full way through the video. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, subscribe if you haven't already to join along this journey with me. As always, remember to work hard, rest often, and I will see you on the next one.